So I want to start with the show. Before I begin talking, I'm going to say things and dates and facts and figures off the top of my head. And if I say anything incorrectly, I would love for you to leave a comment down below. Hopefully it's respectful. If not, that's okay too. I certainly have my preference that it is respectful, but if I make a comment or say anything that is inaccurate, I would prefer that you just leave a comment down below and say why I'm inaccurate or I am wrong. But there are pod people on both the left and the right, and the pod people on the left tend to be part of the establishment, and they control things. And I would like to get more of Americans, or at least meet people who are not, you know, I don't want to say the word perhaps myopic, but, narrow-minded thinking, where they cannot think in a nuanced kind of way. And I want to just give examples. There was a time when, I've grown up in a conservative family, but even then I knew that conservatives could be just as dishonest as the right. I'll give an example of this. When George Bush Sr., shortly after Justice Thurgood Marshall passed away and he got his replacement, sorry about that, and he got his replacement, he picked Justice Clarence Thomas. And they asked, did you pick him because he was black? And he said, oh, no, he's the most qualified for the job. And I could be wrong on this, but that seemed to be rather dishonest, even though Justice Thomas seems to be, very qualified, and maybe even some would say a brilliant legal mind. That doesn't, however, mean that the consideration of him being a black person did not come into play when picking a Supreme Court justice. That's just the truth. And then we can go to the fact that people had complained about the 1994 crime bill that Biden supported. And the fact of the matter is that 1994 crime bill had bipartisan support on the left and on the right. It also had very strong black support. And it seems like we are in an information age, and perhaps even a new enlightenment age, but today it seems like we are trying to cater to certain things and be dishonest. And I don't necessarily think that is good for the country and good for a free-thinking world. And this is going to be a rather short rant, but I want to see a society that is able to talk honestly and openly about things and about problems, because right now we are facing a huge problem with this pandemic and how to handle it, and what are the best ways to handle this particular problem. How do we slow the spread? And how do we keep the economy alive? I think people should know that the food supply and the economy are very closely linked, and we don't want to have bare shelves and lack of supplies, but we also don't want to overwhelm our hospitals and the like. So it's just a tough thing that we're not able to talk that well, and we're also facing a criminal justice program. I guess crisis, and people don't want to talk about perhaps the lack of morality that has infused society over the years. People used to be far more obedient to the law, and this was, before the end of the 1960s. People would obey things much more readily, and there's been a real degeneracy within society, and we're really not battling it that much. It seems like we're all kind of virtue signaling and saying that the Democratic Party is the party of the real racists. I don't know. Part of me feels like, and maybe they can, because I don't know if many on the left are not necessarily willing to talk. And this is just for me personally. One of the things I'm going to do before I do anything that may be inflammatory, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to strive to think about it first, because I've posted a few things on social media that were very triggering and very angering to leftists, and they are very vindictive and very cruel. But I have to think twice, like, what good does this do? What good does this information do, or this talking point do, if all it's going to do is inflame the other side? Now, there are some times where you have no choice but to inflame the other side. But if it's primarily there to inflame them, I don't know if that is a good idea. But right now, it seems like both sides are becoming inflamed. We do have an election, and there is not going to be a group that is going to be satisfied. If not a majority, a large plurality of people will not be satisfied. And we're not in the age of even discussing things with each other. And for me, that's what I want to find. I want to find a group of people who are interested in having an open and honest debate. And I know in the past I have been angry, and I've allowed my anger to control my judgment. And that's not what I want to do anymore. I just want to have an open and honest discussion. And whether you're a Trump supporter or a Biden supporter, or a Black Lives Matter supporter or an anti-Black Lives Matter supporter, if you're open and honest to having a true discussion on true facts, then that's what I really welcome. And I'd love for you to come to my website, Transparency and Merit, and have that discussion and have a respectful debate. I'm hoping that can happen, and we can maybe gain a little bit of sanity, because let's be honest, both sides are corrupt, both sides are dishonest. And I mean, if you don't see that, then you're not being really objective, whether you're on the right or the left. And to me, like I said, the left is part of the establishment. They control the establishment. And the woke cancel culture is something that I think the majority of Americans are against, but they're so vocal and loud that it is hard hard to kind of fight them. And my hope is at least that is really curtailed, because it's not a good thing. Anyway, this is Brian with Transparency and Merit. Like and subscribe, and also visit our website at transparencyandmerit.com. We're going to be doing a few more things with it, hopefully having debates and other things. And yeah, so again, like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below.